आप सबको पता है कि नेपाल एक ऐसा देश है जिसके साथ सभी मुल्क जुड़ना चाहते हैं, चाहे वो चाइना हो, चाहे वो पाकिस्तान हो, चाहे वो इंडिया हो। और इंडिया का ज्यादा इन्फ्लुएंस रहता है नेपाल के अंदर, और नेपाल भी चाहता है कि वो इंडिया के साथ ताल्लुकात बेहतर करे। बट कई मौकों के ऊपर इंडिया और नेपाल के ताल्लुकात बेहतर नहीं होते हैं। आज हम इसी के ऊपर बात करने वाले हैं कि नेपाल और इंडिया के ताल्लुकात कैसे बेहतर हो सकते हैं, और यहाँ पे ये भी देखेंगे कि चाइनीज का क्या असर रहता है इंडिया और नेपाल के रिलेशन के बारे में। वीडियो देख के फिर बात करते हैं।
Hello and welcome to BharatShakti.in. I'm Brigadier Chatterjee, editor Bharat Shakti. We have been talking about our neighborhood countries for the last couple of weeks, and in that we discussed Bangladesh, we discussed Indonesia, we discussed Vietnam. Today we're going to take on another country which is extremely important for us, and that's Nepal. Nepal is one of our border neighbors, and they have also got the Chinese on their north. So they lie between actually two huge countries. They're packed in between two huge countries. What happens in Nepal affects us. What happens with us, or whatever is our attitude towards Nepal, affects them. To go through the entire gamut of the relationship between India and Nepal, I have with me someone who is amply qualified for it. Lieutenant General Shokin Chauhan, previously DG Assam Rifles. He's also been the Defense Attaché for India in Nepal. Welcome, General. Welcome to the Bharat Shakti Show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling me. Indeed and all.
Right, General. My first issue is about our relationship between India and Nepal. And in that, I would rather you go into the current status. You see, I understand that we have a huge historical connect. We have a connect of religion, we have a connect of geography, we have so much to be in common with Nepal. But if you could dwell upon the current issues that really vex us, and perhaps Lipo Lake is one of them.
Thank you, Brigadier Chatterjee, for calling me for the show. Often I'm asked about what Nepal is, because having been the DA in Nepal, having served in the army in the Gurkha regiment for more than 40 years, and having done a PhD on Nepal, on the India-Nepal strategic relations, I feel there are a couple of things that we Indians simply don't understand about Nepal. And that understanding comes from the fact that we may be, as a larger country, taking Nepal for granted. But let me just sort of mix history and geography a little bit for you. And I'll get the current status to you, because it will not be context unless I tell you what the rest of the issues.
Okay.
Historically, as you said, Nepal and India are close. Much of people populating Nepal have probably migrated from here. Over the last 2 centuries, there has been a fair amount of movement in Nepal. As you're aware, Nepal was actually a number of small kingdoms. And by 1700s, we had one single king from the small district of Gorkha, Prithvi Narayan Shah, who was able to unify all the kingdoms of Kathmandu and Nepal and get them all into this narrow strip of land. All right. But where is the origin? The origins of Prithvi Narayan Shah and of the people of Gorkha and of the larger people living in the Middle Hills, because they are the dominating society of Nepal, are likely to have moved from the hills of Kumaon, the hills of Garhwal, and we, in many ways, share very common DNA there. Culturally, we are, we are a Hindu, largely a Hindu society. So is Nepal, largely a Hindu society. In 2006, when they were making their constitution again, I was a DA in the embassy at that time, when we were shocked to hear that Nepal had changed from a Hindu kingdom to a secular democratic republic. So that was a shock for the people in the embassy also, because we never expected it. We thought that they would continue with the Hindu part of their country, but they changed it to a secular country. I am not sure at whose behest, but this was done, and despite our sort of telling them, they still continue to keep it secular. But there is similarity in our religious beliefs, there is similarity in our cultural beliefs in a large part of the society, and they celebrate the same festivals as we do. Geographically, Brigadier Chatterjee, Nepal probably occupies the most important part of the Indian subcontinent. It sits at the head of the Indo-Gangetic Plain. As you're aware, the Indo-Gangetic Plain is India's base. It's the core of Indian civilization. And Nepal sits on the head of the Indo-Gangetic Plain with all the rivers from Nepal flowing into it. So as far as we are concerned, strategically, they are the upper riparian. Geographically, they are on the core, on the main core of our country, of our subcontinent. And historically, they're connected to us through religion, through origin, through intermarriage, and a whole lot of issues. Almost all of them speak Hindi or for part of Hindi, and virtually does have a lot of similarity with the Indian languages like Bengali, Hindi. It's an amalgam of a lot of other languages. So when you come to talking about the status of our relationships, the reason I don't answer this clearly to you is that there are three separate issues about Nepal. One are the people living in the Kathmandu Valley, because geographically you can sort of break this up. People living in the Kathmandu Valley may have a certain idea about their sense of politics because the government stays there. But the people living in the east and west of Nepal, the core from where we used to recruit our soldiers, have an absolutely different view about India. Very different and very positive view about it. But politically today, it is ruled by Prachanda, and it's a mix of a number of parties, which surprisingly is even a mix of the Rapava, that is the Rashtriya Prajatantra Party, which is the King's Party, the old King's Party. It was the RPP. Even the RPP had thrown its hat in with Prachanda to keep out Ole. But what do they think? And their thoughts exactly as what you said, during the chat. We go to their foreign ministry and you sit down and you look at the board out there. They quote a quotation of Prithvi Narayan Shah, which says, Nepal is a yam between two borders. The kingdom of the north, that's China, and the kingdom of the south, that is India. Nepal itself considers itself a yam. And if a yam has to survive between those two borders, in their mind, it has to be equidistant. Any movement one way or the other will render this yam absolutely, will finish this thing. So everything that Nepal does, please balance it against their relationship with China and with they will balance every issue. Whether it is military exercises, whether it is political visits, whether it is the movement of goods, whatever be the issue, Nepal will balance. So today's relationship is the same as it was 20 years ago. A balancing capable relationship. Prachanda came here, promised nothing. He's gone to China, promised nothing. China has offered it certain amount of issues. He's accepted. India has offered it certain amount of issues. He's accepted. So that's how this relationship is continuing and will continue to be. So we should not feel alarmed when we see a greater movement of China. But I'll explain that further.
Right. Well, to carry on in the same vein, like you yourself say, China has a big influence on Nepal as far as Nepal relationship with India is concerned, can we talk a little bit about Nepal-China relation, Prachanda's visit, and the odd major projects? Not all of them, there are plenty of them. I'm just limiting it to the odd one because we will otherwise run out of time.
See, keep in mind, sir, that the Chinese relationship with Nepal did not start 20 years ago. In the 1770s, they signed, in fact, in the 1770s, Nepal was battling Tibet. And they were continuously fighting with Tibet. And that issue between Tibet and Nepal has continued over the last 2 centuries. In 1858, 1860, they signed the Treaty of Thapatalik with China, which effectively means that they would pay obeisance to the court of China. Right? Because they fought in Tibet and lost in Tibet. It is only...
तो आप लोगों ने वीडियो देख ली, आप लोगों को पता चल चुका है कि नेपाल और इंडिया के ताल्लुकात की बेहतरी की तरफ में इंडियन मीडिया क्या बात कर रहा है। यहाँ देखो, सबसे पहले बड़ी बात यहाँ पे आती है कि देखो, चाइना एक पॉपुलर देश है और उनके साथ उनके पास सामान काफी ज्यादा है, उनके पास एक्सपोर्ट करने के लिए चीजें ज्यादा है, उनके पास जो है ना पैसा ज्यादा है। तो डेफिनेटली वो कोशिश तो करेंगे कि चाइना जो है वो नेपाल को अपनी तरफ लेके आए, बट इंडिया भी उसी तरीके से उस ट्रैक पे जा रहा है। उन इंडिया के पास पैसे है बट उतने नहीं है कि जितने चाइना के पास है। अब आप सबको पता है कि देखिए, आपको मोबाइल फोन, स्मार्टफोन जितने भी है वो आपको ब्रांड्स के अंदर मिलते हैं, बट चाइना से ज्यादा इंपोर्ट होते हैं। अब इंडिया के अंदर अपने प्लांट्स लगे, इंडिया के अंदर अपने बन रहे हैं, बट पहले क्या होता था, पहले चाइना से सारे इंपोर्ट करते थे और पाकिस्तान अभी भी चाइना से इंपोर्ट करता है। तो इसी तरीके से चाइना एक्सपोर्ट करता है। अब उसी तरीके से नेपाल भी उनके साथ लेने वाला है। अब यहाँ पे ये बात आ रही है कि नेपाल कई सारे ऐसे प्रोडक्ट्स है जो पहले इंडिया से लेता था, अब वो इंडिया से नहीं ले रहा। तो उसकी बड़ी एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको बताता हूँ, रिलेशन के बारे में भी आपको बताता हूँ। देखिए, चीनी की बात हुई तो चीनी में क्या हुआ कि भाई पाकिस्तान से वो इंपोर्ट करेंगे, पाकिस्तान से उनको सस्ती भी मिल रही है और क्वालिटी भी अच्छी मिल रही है। अगर हम स्टील की बात करते हैं तो स्टील जो है वो अब चाइना से इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं नेपाल। अगर हम चावलों की बात करते हैं तो चावल वो पाकिस्तान या चाइना, चावल की बात करते हैं तो चावल या तो वो चाइना से इंपोर्ट करेगा या तो वो पाकिस्तान से इंपोर्ट करेगा। और इंडिया अपने चावल, जब से उन्होंने अपने चावल को बैन किया है तो पूरी दुनिया के अंदर पाकिस्तानी चावल चल रहे हैं और पाकिस्तानी चावलों का राज चल रहा है। सब उसी को पसंद करे कि पाकिस्तान के चावल अच्छे हैं। 3-4 चीज ऐसी है जिस टाइम पे 3-4 चीज ऐसी है जो इस टाइम पे इंडिया ने अपनी कंट्री के बाहर मतलब एक्सपोर्ट करना बैन किया है, और वो उन चीजों को लेके नेपाल को तो जरूरत होगी, नेपाल वो अपनी कंट्री से नहीं, देखिए वो जो 4 चीजें बैन हुई इंडिया के अंदर वो मतलब दूसरी जगहों पे एक्सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहे, तो नेपाल को तो कहीं ना कहीं से चाहिए होगा ना। नेपाल तो इसको इंपोर्ट करेगा, चाहे पाकिस्तान से करे, चाहे इंडिया से करे, चाहे वो चाइना से करे, कहीं ना कहीं से तो करेगा। जो रिलेशन हमें दिख रहे हैं फेस टू फेस उस तरीके से नहीं है। मैं मानता हूँ रिलेशन अच्छी तरफ जा रहे हैं, बट रिलेशन के बीच में कहीं ना कहीं खराब है। अगर ऐसा नहीं होता तो चावल की अगर बैन लगी है ना इंडिया के अंदर, तो वो नेपाल को देता कि भाई आपके पास नहीं है तो हम आपको देते हैं। तो ये टोटल आपने देखा कि किस तरीके से इंडिया नेपाल के रिलेशन चल रहे हैं। वीडियो अगर इंटरेस्टिंग लगी है तो वीडियो को लाइक लाजमी